Hold up.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It is FoxyDude98 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys here on my channel. Today we are back with my F1 2017 career mode with my beautiful Force India. Today we are here for the Russian Grand Prix. If you guys do enjoy today's video, drop it a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well. And without further ado, let's get into it. So we've got our first piece of R&D coming our way for us, which I believe is a durability upgrade for... That's not the durability, okay? That's the chassis weight upgrade there. And also the durability. So we've got the chassis weight, which is going to obviously help out massively, and then the durability for the ICE, because the ICE wore pretty quickly on my first engine. So you can see there that the upgrade's coming on through, and I can now see what I have upgraded. But hopefully for today's Grand Prix we can have a more successful one than the Force India in real life. And hopefully the real life action doesn't happen in this Grand Prix for myself. But anyway, we're having a look then at some of the components that we need to work on. As you can see, still looking at the aero, because the aero is my big problem at the moment. Still the third worst car on the team. I'm looking to potentially get the aero above Toro Rosso and McLaren. Then I can consider potentially looking into different elements of the car. But for now, chassis and aero is where we're going to be focusing all of our time on. When we get towards Belgium and Italy, that's when I'll look to maybe getting in a power terrain upgrade to make the car that extra bit quicker in a straight line to help us out in those races. But for now, we don't really need to do much upgrades on the power unit. We've got the Mercedes unit, it's fine. And durability wise, I'm just looking at absolutely everything, and this is what I like to do at the start of every weekend, is just have a look at all the upgrades and see and plan what's going to be best for me come this Grand Prix. So as you can see then, having a look at the elements on my car, we can see that a lot of the elements are actually worn, and I am going to be bringing in a brand new engine for this race. So I'm going to be using the second power unit, and a big problem here is that my gearbox is on 55%, and that means that it is badly worn. So I'm going to have to take a look at that, and I might have to take a 5-place grid penalty for a new gearbox. I'm not sure yet, we'll see how it goes. But into practice then, and the track acclimatization is up, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using my old engine for practice now. I'm not going to run it anymore in the race, it's too badly worn for that. So I'm going to use the old engine for practice, and I'm going to switch to my second engine now for the races. But as you can see then, we did that one perfect, the track acclimatization, into the tyre wear test, taking it very easy in these final two corners because I had a lot of time left on my Delta. I come across the line there to complete the tyre wear test, doing a very nice job there. And that is us getting a purple score, maximum resource points, and all happy on that front. Moving on then to the fuel saving test, and as you can see here on the bottom of your screens, yeah, you could just see that flick of gears. In practice, I lost 6th gear. I went up into 7th, didn't want to go into 7th, so dropped down to 5th and maxed out in 5th in the revs. And you can see it there, me dropping from 7th down to 5th. So, big problems here. Luckily, I did manage to come across the line and complete the fuel saving test. But unfortunately, you can see it there. I tried to have a little look, and you can see there just constantly shifting up, trying to show, look, I've got no 6th gear. And that was the trigger for me. But moving on then into the, what is this now? This is the qualifying simulation run, I think this is. We had to do it on 2 attempts because of gearbox problems. On my second run, 6th gear came back, so I did go ahead and do it, but we didn't get the perfect score there because the power unit is worn down. And onto the race strategy then, this one was kind of fine really. It was mainly in the final sector where I gained all the time to complete this test. In the first sector, where the straights were, didn't have really much power. And across the line there to go and set a purple time. And there you can see all my engine elements now in the yellow, which means I'm not running this engine anymore. This is just going to be the practice car that we use with. And we're going to gather all of our resource points now, up to 650 resource points, which is kind of actually pretty decent. Listening to the voicemail there from Emma, she's now going to give us our objectives for today's Grand Prix. And we're going to move on from there. So she wants us to qualify 8th and beat Esteban Ocon. And what I've noticed in qualifying is the AIs are really, really fast in quali. But anyway, we've decided we're going to go and take a hit. First of all, we're going to change the components of my engines to the second engine. So now we've got a brand new, fresh engine on board for this Russian Grand Prix. And hopefully that can help us out for the Grand Prix ahead. So we're going to have a nice, fresh engine. And that should give us a slight advantage over the rest. And I knew I was gonna risk it in this race. I was gonna risk it, but I am gonna take a penalty for the Russian Grand Prix. I need a new gearbox. I can't take that gearbox further. And on the note of that, I think what upgrade do I make an upgrade? I don't even know if I do make an upgrade, to be honest. Having a look there, but the gearbox was worn, and the fact that I lost 6th gear in practice meant it was inevitable that I was going to have more problems. So I decided the best thing, just take the 5-place grid penalty and we'll move on with it. But we've got some big problems now. We're into qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix and it's raining, which is a problem. And why do I call that a problem? I set the car up specifically for the Grand Prix. I didn't look at qualifying, basically. I looked at the race and I saw it was going to be a dry race. But it's a wet quali, which is going to compromise me heavily. So, unfortunately, I haven't set the car up for quali, and I've set the car up mostly for the race. So, hopefully in qualifying we can maybe just creep towards the top 10. Maybe get into the top 10. That'd be kind of nice. But unfortunately, this qualifying hasn't really helped me in terms of my pace. And it looks like we are off to yet another bad weekend here. Into Q1 then, and as you can see, we're on a lap time. And you can see what I mean by I've got a dry setup, just constantly fiddling with the car there. The back end just not planted to the floor here. And Pascal Wehrlein in front is doing a great job of actually staying in front. And this is when I knew that if I can't catch Pascal Wehrlein, how on earth am I going to do well in qualifying? But into the second to last corner we come now. Again, the car just not really wanted to stick with me here. And unfortunately, around the last corner, I'm going to smack the ball out of the way. And I power slide it. And you might have just seen there that it is only P17. Which does mean I am out in Q1 again. I don't know what to do. The AIs, genuinely, are extremely fast in quali. And they're a lot slower in the race. And there's my teammate Ocon, who only just scraped through into Q2, so yeah, that's pretty interesting. But now it's decision time. We've got a 5-place grid penalty. We're starting last already with the gearbox penalty, so yeah, it's time to go back to my traditional tactics. We lose out again in the qualifying objectives because we do every single time. It makes absolutely no difference. We always lose out on those objectives. But anyway, we're going to go tactically once again. Once Emma stops talking to us, finish 11th and get 9th in the championship and beat Ocon in the race goals. But I'm starting last, so why don't I just take a bigger hit for going last? So I'm going to go over to my engine elements. I'm going to buy a 6th one. Why not? I mean, I'm starting last. I have a gearbox penalty, which is going to drop me down to 20th. Might as well just buy a 6th one. And whilst I'm not in a championship winning car, let's just take the hits, get these fresh engines so I can be quick and fresh in all the races. And then hopefully we can get some decent results. So that's how I'm going to work things. That's how I'm going to work this championship and how I'm going to make myself the best. And I'm going to use my fighting instinct to get it through the field. So without further ado, let's get into the race.
Good afternoon. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, and Verstappen, Massa, Ocon, Hülkenberg, and Kevin Magnussen, Stroll, Grosjean, Carlos Sainz, and Kvyat, Van Dorn, Palmer, Fernando Alonso, and Marcus Ericsson, Wehrlein, and a Force India rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Alright then guys, so we're here on the grid now for the Russian Grand Prix, and we're going to be doing the bog standard one stop as we would have expected. Ultra softs to super softs, and then we will take those to the end of the race, starting last. But the advantage that we have got over the rest of the field is we have got a brand new engine which has done virtually 2 laps actually. The engine's done because it did the out lap for quali, the quali lap, which I got knocked out in Q1 in, and then obviously, as I forget to release the clutch there, it also did the in lap to get back to the garage. So my engine's done 3 laps. That means we've got a fresh engine and we can just fly through this field, I hope, quote unquote. But on a power circuit like Russia, we should be in good shape. We should be in good shape. Well, I know I'm starting last, but I've got positive and high hopes for this race. But we're onto the grid now here with 5 red lights here for the Russian Grand Prix, and it is lights out. Away we go here for the Russian Grand Prix. Decent start from us once again, a little bit low on the traction there, but we've got a nice start there. And as you can see, we've flown past Pascal Wehrlein there. Ericsson getting a cracking start here, and unfortunately, I've been boxed in by the McLaren, so I'm going to actually lift off the throttle a little bit just so I can claim this inside line. And we're going to get a bunch of positions because all the AIs like to brake early here, and I'm going to creep it just past the Renault there. I didn't think I could get past those 2 Renault cars, the Renault and the Toro Rosso, sorry. But luckily, I managed to carry just a little bit extra speed And as you can see, flying through now, we are in front of a bunch of cars, and they brake a little bit early. There goes Danny Gafiat, and we'll get past Gafiat and up into P13 already after 4 corners, so a great start for us here. Moving on further into lap 1 now, we're catching up to Lance Stroll here in the Williams car, and we're going to brake nice and late, and we are going to just sneak it down the inside once again, being very, very sneaky in my attacks. And with this fresh engine on board, I've got to make as much position as I can as possible before the field starts to get spread out here. As we can see now, we're catching up towards Esteban Ocon here. And will we make the move into this hairpin? We're too far back. I had a little look, but I was like, no, let's just be wise here. This is my teammate Ocon. We're both looking to get as many points for Force India as we can in this first season. Let's just take it easy. Now I'll take my move on Ocon down the inside. Very nice move there. Next up is Romain Grosjean in the Haas, and then Kevin Magnussen. So, yeah, on to lap 2 of the Grand Prix now, and we are kicking things off here with our attack on Grosjean and Magnussen here. And once again here, we've got going down the inside, nearly going to Grosjean. Magnussen locks up, runs wide. Grosjean takes the position there. I have to slot in behind Kevin Magnussen, who's going to be all out of shape here. And down the inside here, nice, plain and simple move there. Had to be very, very alert there, because Grosjean brake checked me kind of, so he could stop because Magnussen was going off, and then I had to be aware of Magnussen coming back on track there. But luckily, we managed to make the move stick on Grosjean and also on K-Mag, so all good on that front here. On to lap 3 of the Grand Prix now, and we're catching back up to Romain Grosjean after we had to take a little bit of time to catch him. I decided to have a maybe think of a little look, but I thought to myself, why not? Let's just go, let's put the car into Rich Mix, because we can do that. We can use Rich Mix a little bit more now, and let's just open up the DRS, and let's just fly past Romain Grosjean. I mean, why not? We've got the power, we've got a fresh engine on board, and we're going to go down the inside of Romain Grosjean, and that is a clean move up into P8 now, sorry, P9 in this Grand Prix. Next up is Hulkenberg in P8, and then we've got Felipe Massa in P7, so really good progress at the start of this race, and you can already see how in Bahrain that worn engine, and it just proves it. If you wear out, if these engine elements wear out, you really will lose time, and you will lose speed. And you can see it here, the comparison between my fresh engine here, as I do cut the last corner there ever so slightly. But onto lap 4 of the Grand Prix now, we've already caught right up onto Hulkenberg's tail, and with the Force India and the power, we're going to come flying through here, open up the DRS here, and we're going to come past Hulkenberg with ease now, as you can see down the straight here. Nice easy move up into P7. Going to brake nice and late here. Massa actually locks up and actually goes wide there and gifts me P7 there. So Massa with a little mistake there. You might have just caught it. I was having a little look. I wanted to sort of put him off, and my attempt of potentially maybe going for another move on him into turn 2 sort of put him off there, and he locked up and gave me the position. So all well on that front here. But onto lap 4 of the Grand Prix now. I'm in my zone. I've just got everything going my way, and we're going to come across the line. Look at that, fastest lap of the race so far. I am in my element, I am fired up, and those 2 Red Bulls in front of me, I'm coming after them. I want to get past them, so let's see if we can do that then. On to lap 6 of the Grand Prix now, and we continue our attack on Verstappen and also Daniel Ricciardo, and we are leaving the rest for dust as we've got yellow flags in front of us. So one of my rivals in front has had a problem, and it might... I'm not trying to see, I can't quite see who it is. It looks like it's a Ferrari, it's Raikkonen. Kimi Raikkonen is out of the Russian Grand Prix, so big drama there for the Ferrari team as Raikkonen has DNF'd here in Russia, and that's now moved up into P6 in this Grand Prix, so I'm not going to complain there with the Ferrari DNF in there, and that is all good on my front. On to lap 10 of the Grand Prix now though, we're kind of lonely in P6, and I decided we need to start acting fast. The gap's about 2.3 seconds between me and Verstappen. Verstappen's in the DRS of Ricciardo, and he's keeping that gap. So I'm going to try and force Red Bull's hands, and I'm going to trigger the undercut on Red Bull. Now, tyre wear is non-existent around here, so the undercut isn't really that powerful, but I still think I can give it a go. I mean, if I'm just going to be sitting around, like letting the Red Bulls just stay that little distance in front, I was matching pace with Verstappen, but every time we got to a DRS zone, that's when he then pulled the advantage back. So I've decided, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I mean, what's the point of me sitting in P6 and doing absolutely nothing for the whole race? I might as well just try and do something. I've got good pace round here, and I'm not that far off the lead. I'm only like 10 seconds off the lead, and normally by now I'd be a full pit stop back. But I thought let's just try it. Let's see what we can do. We do come up behind Marcus Ericsson, but we do have much fresher tyres, and of course he is in a Sauber. So I'm just going to say thank you very much, and down the inside of Ericsson we go, and that is us comfortably now into P15 for this Grand Prix. On to lap 12 of the Grand Prix now, and as you can see in front of us is Daniel Ricciardo, who has made his first stop onto the super soft tyres, and unfortunately the undercut has not worked on Ricciardo. He's still in front of us, but we weren't really trying to undercut Ricciardo because he was still in front. But that kind of triggers to me that I'm probably not going to get it done on Verstappen, because Ricciardo and Verstappen were right next to each other. And on to lap 13 of the Grand Prix now, there is Max Verstappen. That's him out of the pits there. So, in fact, we have closed the gap to Verstappen. We haven't made the undercut work, but we definitely brought ourselves closer to Max now. And hopefully, with this confidence boost that we've got off Verstappen right there, we might just be able to do something here in this Grand Prix. As we move on to lap 14 of the Grand Prix now, there is some yellow flags behind us, and the virtual safety car has come out. And I believe Stoffel Van Dorn is out of this Russian Grand Prix, as the McLaren Honda proves once again to be an unreliable piece of junk. And we can continue forwards now, and the VSC there, as it now comes towards an end here on lap 15. And we'll get back racing here, making sure we stay in the Delta. And there we go, DRS has been enabled once again, and we can continue our pursuit on Max Verstappen, which we've been trying to do basically all race long. And here are some yellow flags here. This is where Stoffel Van Dorn parked up, so obviously the VSC is ended, but Van Dorn's still parked there. There he is. Very lonely sight there for the McLaren Honda team, as they see his car parked up, probably with an engine failure. On to lap 21 of the Grand Prix now, and my pursuit's not going very well. But here are the engine elements so far, so you guys have a look at. Very little worn on them, but we are still keeping our push on Max Verstappen.
The gap behind us is 16.0 seconds. Some information on Verstappen. They seem to have an issue.
Yes, so you might have just been able to have heard that. Verstappen has got a problem, and that literally gave me the biggest confidence boost in the world. And now, I was literally giving up at this point. I was just cruising the car home. I've now re-ramped up this car, and we're going again. We've got some yellow flags there. Who's that? That's gone off there. That's Vettel. Vettel's gone off in the background. So Sebastian, more trouble for Ferrari then, as Vettel's gone off now in the just behind us there. So I don't know what happened to... Oh, it's a puncture. Sebastian Vettel's got a puncture then in this Grand Prix, and wow, I've never seen a car with a puncture in this game. Wow, that tyre really does flap about, and he's actually literally got no steering angle whatsoever. But more problems for Ferrari in this race, and problems for the front runners involved, because, you know, they're all having problems. And look at this now, to lap 23 this Grand Prix, Verstappen is in front of us now, and you can see him, he's just there, and we've really ramped up this car now, because we can catch him past Verstappen. He's got a problem, so we might as well go for it here. As we've got some yellow flags now, and that's Verstappen. Look, he's pulling off to the Verstappen, going very wide into the braking. Oh, it's Vettel, look. Vettel's in the middle of the circuit there, and he's had an incident, and now Verstappen's back on track again. All going on with the front runners here in this Russian Grand Prix. Just as I thought it was going to be a simple cruise home for 6th in this Grand Prix, it's going to be even more than that we expected now. As Verstappen here losing the back end a little bit there. Now we're right on Verstappen's tail, and we're surely going to get this move done now into the pit straight here as we go to the second to last corner now. Braking hard into the final corner, and this is going to be us moving up into P4, we hope now. But Bottas has pitted for Ultra Softs. Hang on a minute. Bottas has made a second stop for Ultras. And this is going to be a move for the podium. Verstappen around the outside of the turn 1. He's going to give us the squeeze there. And we're going to go straight through, fly past Verstappen. But that's P3 now. So for some reason, we're in the podium places for this Russian Grand Prix out of absolutely nowhere. So big problems for the front runners. And on to lap 27. We're gonna do it. Lewis Hamilton wins the Russian Grand Prix. So Mercedes, I think, pick up their first win of the season so far. Daniel Ricciardo picks up second. But from last on the grid... we started last. We've got a podium in the Russian Grand Prix. An absolutely phenomenal result for myself. I'm gobsmacked to be picking up a podium here in this race. What a Grand Prix. Just when I thought that we could probably not get any further, we have done, and we've managed to take a podium here in this Russian Grand Prix. And wow, that is an absolutely phenomenal Grand Prix for us today. And yeah, Mercedes win here in Russia with Lewis Hamilton picking up their very first victory of the season, because it was Ricciardo that won, and then Vettel's won the last two. So Hamilton with his first win. And look at me there on the podium. I actually can't believe I did that. At the start of the race, we did what we needed to do. We got the job done on a lot of cars, and we became best of the rest. Good result, though, for Ocon as well, actually, in P8 there. So, great stuff from the two Force India drivers, of course, with myself picking up third. There we are on the podium there, as Hamilton celebrates away, and we are there on the podium. Absolutely ecstatic to be there. That's my second podium now of the season, after the podium in the first round in Australia. A great result there, as the champagne flies. We deserve that one, you know. I would say that was pretty lucky. I'm not going to lie, you know. Kimi Raikkonen, put it this way, Kimi Raikkonen DNF'd, Verstappen had a problem, Vettel had a problem, and Bottas pitted. That's 4 drivers that had problems at the front, which then promoted me further. But there it is, guys. That is what you need in Formula 1. Luck is always needed in Formula 1. And as you can see there, we finished on the podium. Ocon picking up a great points playing position. But you can see there, Raikkonen and Vettel, both Ferraris, not scoring a single point. And Bottas having to make a second stop onto the ultra soft tyres. He did set a very blistering quick lap, but he wasn't going to catch me anytime soon. Having a look then at the standings, Vettel, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, and then myself at the top 5. Then we've got Bottas, Verstappen, and then Massa. I expect Bottas and Verstappen to overtake me in the championship at some point. But for now, I'll take the positions as they come. I'll stay as I am. I quite like it up here. And then we've got the likes of the Saubers and the McLarens and the Force Indies and everything else all the way far down the order with no existence. It's the constructor standings then, and we still remain in P4 in the championship. And we, after that podium, have extended our advantage over Williams, which is a crucial result for us in today's Grand Prix and a much needed result there. As we can see then, we're picking up all of our resource points after such a phenomenal Grand Prix. And you can see that we're clicking to continue. And we're going to continue to beat Ocon in the rivalry and getting closer to that. And as you can see in the team approval, Ferrari have jumped up massively in their interest for us in this Grand Prix. And as you can see, we've got a new invitational event. We can either do the time attack or checkpoint challenge. And I decided to go for the time attack with the McLaren MP4-6 in 1991, driven by Ayrton Senna, my favourite car in Formula 1 ever. So basically what the challenge is we've got to complete 3 laps of the Austrian Grand Prix circuit, the full circuit, with 3 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock. There's not really much else to commentate. There are a couple of cars that we're going to have to overtake because they're going to go slow to try and put us off. But guys, I'm going to let you guys listen to this, and then I'll outro the video when we finish this test. Whether we pass it or fail it, you'll have to find out. But yeah, listen to the McLaren MP4-6. And here we go then, guys. That is going to wrap it up. We have managed to complete it. 5 seconds to go there. Absolutely awesome. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, drop it a like. That'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you're new around here as well. And without further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks ever so much for the support. And I'll see you guys next time for the Spanish Grand Prix. Take care all. Peace.